Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
Well, welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets podcast, and we're excited to have one of our great investors, Brieanna Green, with us today. Thanks for joining us, all the way from East Mesa.
I know. I didn't know at the time that I moved there that it was going to be what it is now, because it wasn't. But now it's buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings, and I love it. I love it.
Now you're central, even though you're in East Mesa.
Yeah, like Queen Creek is like in my next door
right.
Somehow. I don't know how that happened, but...
Welcome to Phoenix, and your daughter works right around the corner on 7th Street and Camelback. We're here at our office at the Grid on 7th Street and Camelback, so you're familiar with the area. So we're really excited you came in the studio, and we also have our investor relations queen, Heather.
Yes.
Andrew's with us. So sorry to cut you off there, but we were talking a little bit about you and some of the things that you value in your life, and you have a couple of kids. You've taught them a lot about working hard and the things that they work for and that they can attain in life. They need to work for themselves.
Right.
And it's sometimes hard to do that in our society, where everyone expects, kind of is entitled to, feels like they're entitled to things that they may not have necessarily earned.
Right. And that's hard. I come from a big military family, and I was military myself. So that was another part of, like, you really do start at the bottom. And, you know, I've cleaned the toilets, I've mopped the floors, and then I, got promoted again. But that's how I've always thought. And so I wanted my kids to understand, like, what we have now is because we didn't always. And you have to find ways to save and work. But just know, if you work, you can get there. But then, going back to investing, what do you do from there? Once you have enough to where you're like, okay, I can do something with this, what do you do from there? So
and those values, teaching that to kids, that's kind of the same way I grew up, youngest of 8 kids.
That's insane.
And
so many kids.
If we had a new set of or a new package of Oreos that my mom got from the grocery store, is like, you better grab some or you're not going to get any. And it was hectic at times, but I definitely had to learn that if I wanted to get something, I had to earn it on my own.
Right.
And so it's great mindset. And then it's a good problem to have once you start thinking about investing.
Right.
And those tend to be the folks who are able to invest because you've worked hard and you value your dollar. You're not going to just spend it on frivolous things as well.
No, that's exactly what it is. And there was a time when I was a lot younger when I had to have the newest phone and I had to have the newest things. And now it's like, oh, but I have to keep living too. So the money I have, if I spend it on this phone, it's not going to do anything for me. So I did get to a point where I was like, okay, well, where do we go from here? And I talked to a couple people, and I started learning, like, investing really in real estate. Real estate is fascinating me, partly because of what I do for a living, but also
and let's talk a little bit about that. What do you do? And you said you were in the military, so kind of tell us a little bit about your background.
So I had my daughter really young when I was a teenager, so I joined the military because my family I come from a very big military family. My mom was military. She was born in England. I was born in Germany. So I did grow up traveling, and that was kind of just what you do. So I went into the military, learned so much. I'm so thankful that I spent 5 years in the Army. But one day I met a really good friend of mine. I was military police when I was in, so very different than what I do now. But I met a good friend of mine, and she was like, yeah, when I get out, I'm going to be an interior designer. So I had grown up a lot in a small town in Alabama, And it never occurred to me that I was never presented with your hobby can actually be what you do for a living. So I started looking into it and it just clicked in me. And I was like, that's it. This is what I want to do. This is where I belong. This is what I want to do. So I got my first degree while I was still in the military, got out, immediately went to design school here in Phoenix, and I've been a designer. Started out in residential, not really my thing. It's very different animal, but I actually do a lot of what we have here. I work for a company. We do commercial furniture. So we come in and we do the space planning for a lot of corporate headquarters. A lot of walking in here was like seeing a lot of my clients in the little huddle rooms and the meeting rooms. And I love seeing construction, because I love seeing how something starts from your minds, and it literally starts from somebody's mind. Several people come together and they make it happen, and then it exists. And then from there, it just keeps growing. I love corporate design because you spend a lot of time at your job. You do. And over the years, we have seen such a change in how it used to be. Tall panels, heads down, no one talked. You didn't even know who was on the other side of you, to realizing that, hey, let's kind of let them collaborate. Ideas will start to flow. They'll start to talk to each other. And so I landing in commercial, corporate, and the furniture aspect of it, where I do a lot of space planning, has been like, that's what I love to do.
Wow, that's really cool. And I think, like you mentioned, when your friend who was in the Army with you said they want to do interior design, when you told me you went from Army to interior design, I'm like, those are two very different worlds,
totally
military
different worlds.
police to
Yeah.
interior design. But it was a passion of yours before, sounded like.
Looking back, I've always cared more about my space, my surroundings, than say fashion, or wasn't super of a mall girl. I love designing my room. I love designing my spaces. I love to rearrange our space to make it more functional. I loved helping people do that. But again, I really did not know that was something that you could do for a living. I honestly just thought that like people get into it and then when I started researching it, I realized how very different it is than picking out pillows. And it's a lot more architectural work. It's a lot more computer work. And I loved it. Yeah. I loved every aspect of it. So.
And I think you make a great point that when we think of interior design, we're thinking typically about our home.
Right.
And the colors and the pillows and those sort of details that we see on magazines and on the HGTV, but we spend more time, most of us, at our office.
Yes.
And I think of our office here, we do the open office concept, and that's the first place I worked out of college up until even now. I've always worked in an open office concept. I can't imagine being in a cubicle like that's walled up and you don't see anybody and talk to anybody, versus the collaboration that can happen. There's challenges to it too, because sometimes you can't get work done.
Right.
That never happens.
It never happens. You guys are perfect.
Yes. It's on camera.
But we have a lot of fun with it, and there's a lot of thought that goes into this building and how it was all set up.
It's a very, I love what I do, but I do tell people it will knock you down if you let it. It is a very, very mentally heavy job, because you are constantly thinking about, you're basically taking a puzzle that doesn't exist and then making it put together. So you get told, okay, well, we have 300 employees, 50 of IT. Now they're loud, so they can't go next to HR, but they have to be next to sales, and sales has to be next to HR because they work together. And then you've got a couple people who come in twice a week. So you have to take all these pieces and make them fit and make them function and work together. And that's what I love of it. But not only that, you then have codes. You have commercial codes, you have fire codes, you have building codes. And I would love to give this to a client. However, you will not get C of O because you're not allowed to block this doorway. It has to be a fire exit. So there's a lot that goes into it, and you're constantly, and that's before you even get to like the pretty stuff. Like, I haven't even gotten to the fabrics and finishes yet.
You really have to be like both left and right brained.
Right. And you have to think about ADA and Americans with Disabilities Act. That's a huge, huge thing. A lot of times at the end of the day, completely wiped. Your mind is just moving all day.
Yeah.
And I do tell people, like, the people who are still in it really love it because we're okay being zombies. We've got coffee and fine with that. So, but for those who came in wanting to pick out pillows, it's quite a, you can do that, but it's quite a bit different.
And I think the military background, you've developed a lot of discipline, right? So you can keep tackling it over and over.
Growing, and growing up in it, my mom really never let me quit because she's retired military. So I grew up with her, and I grew up with, you roll with changes. And that's another part of this industry too, is that things change. COVID came out of nowhere and suddenly no one worked in an office. And I thought, what's going to happen to the office? And then suddenly no one wanted an open office anymore. And we started getting requests to redo offices. But we also do a lot of hospitality. We do hotels. We've done, right now I do a lot of schools lately. So all of that completely changed one day, literally one day. Everything just changed in our industry, but it didn't skip a beat. It just changed, and we all had to learn and adapt and figure out how do we figure out what's going to be the next thing so we can tell them what's the next thing, because everyone's scared. Do you send your kid to school? Do you not send your kid to school? And it's like, no, we can do this. We can figure this out. We just got to figure out how to get this set up the way that it'll work.
So are you seeing now that we're in 2022 and the pandemic's largely behind us, are the open office and the office concept of people coming back to the office, is that kind of coming back? Or are you still seeing hesitancy there and not the same levels you were seeing before?
I actually felt like, and this is just, the Phoenix and Tucson markets where I work, but I felt like people did it, and they did a lot of temporary solutions because they knew ultimately they did not want to go to closed. So instead of ordering the tall panels, like you said, the cubicle offices, a lot of them would just get temporary screens that would put up. I'm seeing a lot of that already coming down because I think the working from home is great. I work from home, but my company and I, we make a point to get together, whether it's a coffee house or our showroom or something. That collaboration is very important, and I think it was very quick for people to understand this.
Yeah,
this
we miss
isn't.
people.
We miss people.
Yeah,
we miss talking to people and meeting with people. You just miss a different environment, and I feel like it was there, and then it completely was like, okay, no, we're going back to the open.
Yeah, there was a period of time where, the 3 or 4 months there in 2020 where everything kind of got shut down and we didn't know where things were going to go.
Yeah.
And now as we're shaking back to normal, I've found, at least at this office, the co-work space at the Grid is now full.
Yeah.
People want to come back to an office. They've been working remotely for a while, and you can only do so many Zoom meetings a day till you're like, okay, no more.
Well, there's also just, everybody, the amazing thing about humans is that we all think completely different. All of us think completely different, but I'm an art-minded person, but my boss is a sales-minded person. So while we are working on the same project, we look at it in very different ways. I need her to sometimes, I'll just lay the plans out and be like, I cannot figure this out. I cannot get Steve where he needs to be in this space. And she'll come over and look at it in a different space. That's not going to happen from my living room. I need those. And I think I can't imagine a working situation where you wouldn't benefit from that.
Yeah. Now, I like to stay at home and not put on real pants.
Right.
So I do like to work at home sometimes.
Right.
But there's things I'm much better at my job when I'm here with everybody else, and I can collaborate and get their perspective.
Right.
And,
Right. I'm with you. I very much enjoy sitting in my pajamas.
Yes. I'm really good at it.
And I can eat a Kit Kat at 9:00 in the morning and literally no one's judging me.
No
It's
judgment.
amazing. I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing.
So part of why we wanted you to come, we've had a lot of investors on who have been with us a long time in a lot of projects, but you are a brand new investor. You're
brand new, yeah.
one, and that's, I think, is interesting. I want people to hear about how you made the leap and decided to start investing? Because I think it takes a little bit of bravery, a little bit of faith,
It does.
and say, I'm going to start doing this with money that's really precious.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, I met you at our event,
Yeah.
and I thought you were wonderful,
Oh,
and I
thank
thought this
you.
is someone
know,
I want to
fell in
talk
love with
to.
you.
It's mutual. And that's also on camera. No Tixie bags. But yeah, so I want to know how you heard about us and how you decided to move forward.
So I actually cannot remember the name of the news article that I was reading, but I came across an article and it was literally about like the top 10 companies in the Valley to look out for.
Yeah.
And I started reading about it and I was like, this is the coolest idea ever. I'm a big fan of concepts. Again, I like things that come from up here and just now exist. And I thought, so let me get this straight. You need the money to purchase the building.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people out here who hear about investing every single day. We hear about the S&P 500 and we hear about the stock market, but we don't know what that means.
No, not one bit.
We don't understand that. So
I refuse to learn.
I actually like it, but I can't have conversations with people because there's a lot of people who don't understand it. So I thought, okay, wait a minute. And there are also a lot of people who are afraid to take a large chunk of money.
Yeah.
So you came up with a way to purchase these buildings, to flip them, but also get people to invest and teach them how to invest and allow them to do it in a way to where if it doesn't go, it's okay because there's a minimum. You can start with just $500 sometimes. So I thought, what a really cool concept. So I didn't take the leap right away because I'm again, it's money. So
yes,
I watched the company is what I did. I continued to do research.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up a lot of the people that work here. I started watching some of the podcasts and just sort of kept my eye on the company. And then I sold my house over last summer, which that wasn't an experience. And I rented, which was another experience. And I'm getting a house built, which is another experience. But all of that kind of was like, I've got to wait a second.
Yep.
So until I close on the house, I wasn't able to do a whole lot. But I talked to my mortgage company and was like, this is what I want to do. I've done my research on this company. I like this. And he was like, as long as you can prove where it went, then let's do it. So I did. And I'm very, very happy. And I loved the investor Zoom meeting that you did. I thought that was amazing. I thought you explained it in such a way that helped a lot of people understand what was going on and the steps. I do not get that with my other investments on Wall Street. I can tell you that. I get whatever they say on the news that day.
Right.
So I thought you answered all of our questions, and that was a huge thing. Was you let us ask questions, whatever we wanted, and you answered them. You didn't hesitate. I'm really, really like fascinated by what you've built. I think it's awesome.
Wow, that's a great recommendation, but it's great to hear that it's people are appreciating what we're doing, because that's just the goal. Exactly how you put it is we wanted to have more people have the opportunity to invest in these projects that normally were reserved to the country club crowd, $100,000 minimum sort of investments.
Right.
But and we try to make it fun. We try to include everybody in the process of renovating, because it is fun. It's fun to see those things come about. So it's exciting to hear that that's been helpful and you've enjoyed
it was huge. Fears for a lot of people who don't understand. Not only is there a lot to understand about investing, but real estate is a whole animal in itself, and the market everything's kind of insane right now. I personally love it because I love construction. I love seeing all of that stuff, but I think there's a lot of people who were scared by it. And I felt like the Zoom call that you did, yourself and John, was hugely helpful for not only myself, but I think it puts a lot of people at ease. Like, I just handed over my money to these guys. Now what? Yep. But you told us, and then we asked, and then you told us again.
Yeah.
So,
and the nice thing about that is John, has 35 years experience in the business. he's got more gray hair than me, so he has more years than me. But I've come from an investment background and Wall Street background and know how to analyze an asset to see what the risks are.
Mhm.
We also take care of when somebody calls on a Saturday morning and the air conditioning goes out.
Great.
And so there's a lot of work there that
I'm
our
sure.
property managers who do a great job handle. And it's nice to be able to own a piece of real estate and invest in it and get the benefits from it, but not necessarily have to do things and make decisions that you don't know how to make,
Right.
or to be the landlord, which ends up being a lot of work.
Right.
And so that kind of reduces the amount of risk for our investors. We handle that side of it, and then we're really excited to keep people and our investors engaged. We try to do as many open houses as we can, come see the projects. But it's kind of that balance of let us do what we're great at,
Right.
and you do what you're great at, and we'll do the best job we can for your hard-earned money.
But you keep them involved, so it's not like a blind.
Absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
not just handing you your money and being like, well, I hope they're doing a good job with it. You literally get to see it. I think the open houses are huge because for somebody who does a lot of space planning, and that is my passion, I walk through there and I'm immediately looking at like, okay, it's ADA. Oh, they did a nice job in the kitchen. Very good layout. I don't think that people know how much work and thought goes into taking something that was something and changing it to make it new again for the purpose of investing and taking care of people. So those, I think, for people to actually be able to see what it was and now hear what we've created is showing you literally how your money was at work. And I think that's huge.
Well, one thing I'm interested just personally is you have two children.
I
You have
do.
a daughter's 19 who's very driven,
She is.
and she's, by example, I think, watched you really be driven and move forward and do great things. And then a younger son,
My
though,
son.
who has got to live where it's a little more comfortable in life. He's grown up. And how do you show your children kind of financial intelligence or when they're growing up in two very different ways?
So it is. They really have lived completely different lives. First of all, I am an only child. The thought of being the youngest of 8 scares me. But raising siblings for me as an only child has been very difficult. But also the fact that they are so far apart and they were raised very, very differently.
It's two first children.
Exactly. Yep. So money is something that I'm always being transparent with them. I want them to know when my son gets to a certain age and when my daughter got to a certain age, I showed her, okay, this is let's calculate out my paycheck. Yep. We will do that. And I go, okay, but let me show you something. Then I showed her my paycheck exactly.
Taxes are scary when you do that.
They are. And but because I started her so young at understanding taxes, she wasn't shocked when she got her first paycheck. Yep. Which I have a lot of friends whose kids are shocked when they get their first paycheck. I'm like, did you not tell them?
Devastating.
That, like, I'm
Devastating.
like, did you not tell them? Like, was it the police officer have to get paid somehow? Like
the roads we drive on.
Right. Did you not tell them about taxes? That is a certain in life. So teaching them, this is how you've worked for every cent of this. Yep. You don't get to take home all of it. However,
doesn't belong to you.
It does not always belong to you. However, we do live in a society together. We drive on the roads. We, the teachers teach our kids. The cops keep us safe. So teaching them that and showing them like, okay, you worked for it. I know that a lot of people I know have stopped doing money for chores. That's something I've seen. I personally still do it. I make it very clear your room is not a chore, that is a responsibility. I'm not going to pay you for that because my son does try
That's your
every
room.
single time. Do I get paid for this? Absolutely not. So, but any money that comes into, I can't with my daughter because she's an adult now, but any money that comes into my son, birthday money, anything, chores, anything, he has to save 20%. He has to. That 20% goes off the top. But he gets to see that too. I show him, I'm not just taking your money away from you. This is where I'm putting it. And fortunately, we live in a digital age where I can show him, this is me transferring that into your savings account.
And he's building a habit.
And he builds a habit.
Yeah.
He already knows how to live at 80% of his money.
Yeah.
So, and I think if you learn to live there, you should be okay. It's hard. He gets to travel a lot. So we learn a lot of that. But his dad's family has also pushed like education and working, and nothing is for free. And so he's a good kid. I'm very, and my daughter, she's amazing. But she also she helped me get ready for school. We used to get ready for school in the mornings together because we both went to school together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
she learned from experience. She was
Yeah.
part of the experience, and you had to be with him really intentional, really thoughtful about it, which I think is
we
great.
also have someone in our life who is not great with money.
Yeah.
So
We all
Just
do.
keep pointing to
Yeah.
that. Yes, we all have that uncle.
I love my mom, but being an only child, I have kind of been her only, hey, can you help with this?
Yeah.
Hey, can you help with this? My kids have seen a lot of that. And so when they start to ask the questions of, how come you don't have to ask for that help, but she does? It's just a time to teach that lesson. And it's, some people there's just a management that, and everybody looks at money differently. And this is how I would like for you to look at money. And
This is great.
Yeah,
It's scary though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Well, what a great way to use it as a teaching moment. And yeah, this has been a great conversation to get to know you more.
Yes, awesome.
We love engaging with our investors because so much what we do is online because it's
Yeah.
crowdfunding, and so when we have our open houses and then we can have folks like you come in and do this, it always gives us a lot of energy and excitement to remember why we're doing it.
Yep.
Because we want to our why is really important, and that's to get
Right.
as many great folks like yourself involved in what we're doing, and we take a lot of responsibility on that because we know we're managing hard-earned money.
Yeah.
And so we look at every dime. We're frugal too, so our values are shared, and it's really great to sit down. So thanks again for coming in.
No, thank you for having me. This
Spending
was
some time
awesome.
with us.